Update on the death of music legend Prince. The autopsy has now been completed, but it could take weeks to find out exactly what killed him, or at least announcing to us what killed him. Prince's body will be released to his family later today. These developments come as the transcript from the 911 call is also released. So here's a part of that. The caller says, quote, "We have someone who is unconscious." The dispatcher asks for the address. The caller says, quote, "We're at Prince's house." The dispatcher asks how the person died. The caller says, "I don't know." And later he says, quote, "Yes, it's Prince." Dr. Michael Baden is a forensic pathologist and a Fox News contributor. When this was breaking during my show yesterday, The Real Story, you know, the dialogue out there was that he had been suffering for weeks from severe flu. But then a bunch of other details started happening, like he had this emergency landing in Illinois with his plane, and possibly TMZ broke the story that he was given a save shot at that hospital. What's that?
That's Narcan, which is an antidote for narcotic drugs. Heroin, morphine, oxycodone can be overcome by the Narcan, but it means that he had an overdose, and it makes sense that the jet would land so quickly to go to the hospital because he was having an overdose of a narcotic, is what Harvey Levin seems to have found out. Now, today, now the autopsies should be finished, and they know if he had any natural disease. They know if he had a pneumonia, they know if he had heart disease, he had brain hemorrhage. All these innocent things that cause death would be able to be determined just from the regular autopsy. If so, that they could release that and say he died of a natural death. But if they don't have any natural disease, then they have to wait for the toxicology, which it takes a few days, not 2 weeks. But normally, the police, the sheriff, the district attorney like to wait before they release the final information. But they'll know by Tuesday or Wednesday whether he died of an overdose of Percocet, as some people say.
Okay, speaking of Harvey Levin from TMZ, here's what he was able to find out. According to him, this is what happened.
They made the emergency landing because of radio calls indicating that he may have had a drug overdose, and that it was so serious that they gave him treatment at the airport on the tarmac, then took him to the hospital. The doctors recommended, we're told, that he stay for 24 hours. His people then said he needs a private room. The doctors informed them that there was no private room at that hospital, and they said, "We are out of here then."
All right, so they left after 3 hours.
Yes.
Based on what you know about getting this kind of a save shot, if that actually happened, would that be advised?
No, he absolutely should have stayed there, gotten full treatment. You can die from an overdose, and what happened is he had a temporary reprieve by the save shot, so to speak. But then, a couple of days later, if he died of a drug overdose, it means he took another dose of the drug a few hours before he was found dead.
Well, can somebody have this save shot, this Narcan, can they have it in their possession?
Yes, a lot of communities, Suffolk County here in New York has been in advance of this, where the Narcan is given to all the police officers, the families of drug addicts, and...
well, wouldn't his enablers have had... Let's say that this is what happened Saturday night in Moline, Illinois. And if they knew there was a problem, wouldn't they have that shot with them?
Well, they're not doctors, so if they knew there was a problem, what happens with these very important entertainment people is often the helpers, the assistants, become enablers by protecting them from other people who want to know what's going on with the
yeah, and the PR
person.
people, too. I mean, we don't know exactly what happened, but they were telling us he had the flu for weeks and weeks, right? I mean, that was the storyline yesterday. But then there were also photos of him coming out of the drugstore over the last few days.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think if he had all these enablers, he wouldn't physically be going to the drugstore by himself.
Yeah, you can get Percocet at Walmart, pharmacy, you see. So whether he's waiting for some helpful drug or whether he's waiting for Percocet, we don't know yet. Or whether he died of a heart attack. So far, nobody said anything about that, but the doctors know this now.
You're saying the doctors for sure know after the autopsy if it was natural causes?
Yes.
All right, but they just won't announce it.
Now, when they release it, it depends on often other people other than the medical examiner.
Right. There's a whole group of people, family, sheriff, etc. Just want to mention to our viewers there's going to be a press conference by the sheriff in Minnesota about an hour from now, so keep it right here on Fox. Dr. Baden. Thank you.
Thank you, Gretchen.